College leaders, thank you so much for joining us at Break Weekend 2023. This is the biggest event we will do for our students this year. And we're hoping that because it's in January, that it really catapults our students into this new year. And so thank you for coming and being a part of our weekend. You have no idea how huge your yes is to the success of Break Weekend. And when I tell you that you are the most important part of this weekend, I 100% mean it. Everything we do is geared toward helping you have successful small group times with your students. You may have heard this said before if you've worked with students in some kind of capacity, but we believe that life change happens in circles, not rows. And let me break that down for you. What this means is that faith gets personal when we internalize what we experience in a worship setting. That happens through conversations that don't get to take place while somebody's up talking on the stage or in the middle of worship. And so those moments that we have in circles with our small groups is really where the students begin to internalize everything that God is talking to them about. And our hope and prayer is that God would move in radical ways during Break Weekend. Yes, the music is going to be incredible and the teaching is going to be super beneficial to you and to our students. But it's in your circles that we're believing that God will do his biggest work. With that being said, we place a premium on our small group time. If you need anything for your small group to be successful, please do not hesitate to let me know. You all should have my number. Text me at any time during the day or the night, and we'll make sure that we can get you what you need to have successful times. Some of the times that you may need us is if you have issues with a student. Please don't let the behavior or the attitude of one student ruin the rest of the weekend for the other kids in the group. Please let me know what is happening. Please let me know if you need my help. I will gladly drive over and I will gladly pull that kid from the group and have a conversation with them. We don't want other kids' weekends to be ruined because one kid is acting a fool or doing whatever they're doing. So please let me know. And if there's anything that you need to be successful, please let me know what that is, and then I will do everything I can to make sure that we can get that for you. The focus of this year's Break Weekend is going to come out of Acts chapter 17, and it's when Paul is talking to the Athenians. If you're not familiar with the passage, I would encourage you to go and read it before you come and begin to pray over that passage of how God might be able to speak to you and encourage the students in the group time. But where we're coming from is Paul is talking to the Athenians. He's looking around. He's seeing all of the pedestals and statues that have been built up to all of these gods for their crops or for business success or for money, whatever it may be. They have these gods built up, and they worship those things and they pray to those. And they want to make sure that all of their bases are covered. And so they have a god to everything, but they have a statue with nothing on it. And it's or a pedestal with nothing on it. It says to an unknown God. And I think for so many of us, you and I included, but specifically students, and it's why it's aimed towards them for Break Weekend, is that we have built up gods that we worship and pedestals. And we look to those things to satisfy us, to satisfy our friendship needs, to satisfy our daily needs. And we go to those things and we think if we can really invest into that thing, then we'll be covered. And then maybe we have this other area of our life that's, just in case to this God that I hear about from my friends at school, or to the God that I go to church every now and then and I hear about. And we want to make sure that there's room for everything so that we cover our bases. But we really want to help students identify who is this unknown God that Paul talks about. Who is the unknown God that students have heard all about, but they've yet to fully know. And so our hope is that throughout the course of this weekend, through the worship, teaching times, and the small groups, is that we'll help students identify who this God is that we talk about all the time. That he's not just this cultural phenomenon. He's not just this mystical being, but he is a personal God who loves them deeply. And so we're going to be talking through that this weekend. So begin to think through that. Session 1 is going to be all about being able to assess who is this unknown God. The second session is going to be built around the idea of building our lives on the sand versus the rock, and making sure that we have a firm foundation we've built on. And then the last session is going to be geared towards what does it look like for us to really build our lives around something that will last, the true God, what some would consider maybe before the weekend the unknown God. But we know him to be Jesus, and our hope is that students would build their lives on him at Break Weekend. And now I know many of you are returning leaders to Break Weekend, and there's also going to be several new leaders that we have this year. And for those of you who are returning or new to Break Weekend, I want to share with you our heart behind Break Weekend. This is our third year of Break Weekend, and we've seen the Lord move in incredible ways over the past 2 Break Weekends, and we're believing that God is going to continue to do what He's already done in years past. This year we have more students than we've ever had signed up before, and our hope is that these students are going to encounter Jesus and walk with him in their life. But it's at weekends like this or camps that we go to that students get to the mountaintops of their faith experiences. Students experience Jesus, they experience community, and they experience life change in very real ways. We love these moments because they take big faith steps. You're going to see on some promotional material and branding things around the church this weekend that Break Weekend is for big breakthrough and big faith steps. And our hope is that those two things happen in the lives of students. And we try to be very intentional with our programming and the way that we structure our weekends so that students will feel confident and comfortable to take those big faith steps that God is calling them towards. For instance, we're going to do games at the beginning of each session. If you've been to a D-Now or a student weekend, you may have not had games at the beginning, or you may be thinking, why are we spending our time doing this? Well, we believe that fun's a great thing. Fun's also the best tool that we can use to break down walls that may keep students from encountering Jesus throughout the weekend. And so we're going to do things that are fun at the beginning of our sessions. And we hope that you have fun when you get back to the homes, and that students leave this weekend knowing Jesus and knowing that they had a great time and can't wait to come back next year and to bring their friends with them. We're also going to be doing something brand new this year called the Power of One. The Power of One is our way to help students know that generosity financially is just a DNA of who we are as a church and as a community of believers. But more than just giving financially to Power of One, students are going to have the opportunity to serve and see that what the power of just one group of students or one singular students, what it can have throughout the world. We're going to be partnering with an organization called Rise Against Hunger. Rise Against Hunger provides meal packets for people in third world countries or in disaster relief areas. And our students are going to have the opportunity to pack those meals. We're going to pack around 20,000 meals on Saturday. And those are going to be sent out all over the world. And just imagine the impact and the influence that just 1 hour of time with maybe $1 that a student gives could have all over the world. We don't want them to just hear about what God's doing. We don't just want them to give to what God's doing, but we want them to participate in what God's doing. And hopefully this small step will encourage them to begin to participate in what God's doing in their life every single day. And then another thing I want you to be aware of is that we do a thing called a host home challenge. That's going to take place on Friday night. So the first night of Break Weekend, when y'all leave our worship service, you're going to go home, you're going to do small groups, and then we're going to encourage you to do a host home video with your group. This is an opportunity for your group to do something together, right? A lot of times the moments we get home and after the unstructured time, or after the structured time, things just can get chaotic. And part of it's to help make things a little bit more structured in that free time at night, but also it's a great opportunity for students to do things together and maybe build some friendships that they didn't have before. And so y'all are going to do that thing together. You're going to submit that to me. We'll give you more information at our leader meeting on Friday. But we're going to do those videos. And so that opportunity, again, is to build community and help students have just a great weekend. And so to end this video, I just want to give you a few tips to succeed at Break Weekend. The first one is this: find time to have a one-on-one with each kid in your group. These moments are going to be so critical to the success of your small group, but also to the students' enjoyment of the weekend. To know that they had a college leader who was willing to take even just 5 minutes to learn their name, to talk to them about their story, and then you get an opportunity to begin to speak into their life. So try and find a time to do at least one one-on-one with each kid in your group. Second thing I want you to do is help students be inclusive. It can be very easy, especially if there's a group that gets a little bit bigger, to have certain cliques that begin to form. Find ways to bring other kids into that, because our hope is that students who maybe don't come here each and every week, that are signed up for this weekend, will find community and want to be a part of what God's doing every single week here at Grace Students. Third thing, don't let one student dominate. And I know that this is easier said than done, but when one student dominates the conversation, it might take away from the weekend for the other kids in the group. So take time to ask specific questions in small group to specific kids who maybe are a little bit disengaged, or maybe look like they want to say something but are a little bit nervous to say it. Ask those specific questions. And if you have a student who's really dominating the conversations and you feel like nobody else is getting to participate, maybe have a one-on-one with them after that small group and say, hey, I love what you have to contribute, but I feel like maybe some of the students aren't sharing because you've got all the right answers. So maybe let two people talk before you talk again after you say something. And then that way everybody gets to participate. And if you need help with that, please don't feel free to ask me for help. And I would love to be a part of that conversation. The fourth thing is get some sleep. Right? The students need to hear the messages and be a part of the weekend. And so make sure that they're getting rest and that you're getting rest. And that means that at times you may have to say, okay, guys, we're shutting everything down. At this time, it's too late. Y'all need to go to bed and get some rest so that they're able to participate on Saturday. And the last thing is respect the rules of the house. We want our host homes to have a great experience too, so that next year they will host a group again. And so whatever their rules are, you need to abide by those and make sure you're helping uphold those rules. When you first get to the house, make sure you have your host family set those ground rules of what they expect for the kids in the home. Guys, it's going to be an incredible weekend. We are so glad that you are coming. We can't wait to see you for our leader meeting on 4 o'clock on Friday, January 21st, or on January 20th. For a time together. We're going to have dinner, we're going to talk some more, and we're going to have an awesome weekend together. So I can't wait to see you. Thank you again. Love you guys, and we'll talk to you on Friday.